Hi everyone, I am Abigail Sagaysay from BSD Soil Science, 4th year college. I am here to present the Republic Act 10601, an act promoting agricultural and fisheries mechanization development in the country. It has 9 articles and 43 sections, which I will be presented today to you. The first article has 4 sections, which is Section 1, title "This Act shall be known as the Agricultural and Fisheries Mechanization or AFMIC Law." The Section 2, Declaration of Policy. Section 3, Definition of Terms. Section 4, Scope and Application. In Section 2, Declaration of Policy, it shall be the policy of this state to promote the development and adoption of modern, appropriate, and cost-effective and environmentally safe agricultural and fisheries machineries and equipment. It is to enhance farm productivity and efficiency in order to achieve food security, safety, and increase farmers' income. It shall be the policy of the state to provide a conducive environment to the local assembling and manufacturing of engines, machineries, and equipment for agricultural and fisheries production, processing, and marketing. It is to ensure the quality and safety of machineries and equipment locally manufactured or imported by strengthening regulation through the development and enforcement of machinery and machine performance standards, regular testing and evaluation, registration and the accreditation and classification of suppliers, assemblers, and manufacturers. It is to enhance compliance to prescribed quality standards. It strengthens support services such as credit faculties, research, training, and extension programs, rural infrastructures, post-harvest facilities, and marketing services. Unify, regionalize, and strengthen the implementation, coordination of activities and mechanizations on agricultural and fisheries mechanization programs and projects. It should be deliver integrated support services to farmers, fisherfolk, and other stakeholders and assist them to be able to viably operate and manage their agricultural and fisheries mechanization projects. In Section 3, Definition of Terms, the following terms are defined as follows. Agricultural and fisheries machinery refers to machinery and equipment for the production, harvesting, processing, manufacture, preserving, transporting, and distribution of agricultural and fisheries products. Agricultural and fisheries mechanization refers to development, adoption, assembly, manufacture, and application of appropriate location-specific and cost-effective agricultural and fisheries machinery. Agro-industrial processing refers to the local activity or series of activity to maintain or raise the quality or change the form of or characteristics of agricultural, fisheries, and forestry production. Fishing boat refers to any boat, ship or other watercraft of three of three of three gross tons or less equipped to be used for taking fishery species or aiding or assisting one vessels in the performance or of any activity relating to fishing, including but not limited to preservation, supply, storage, refrigeration, transportation, and or processing. This is the section. Section 4 is all about the scope and application. The provision of this act shall apply to the research, development, and extension, promotion, distribution, supply, assembling, manufacturing, regulation, use, operation, maintenance and project, implementation of agricultural and fisheries machinery and equipment. Proceed to Article 2 in this policy. There are 2 sections in Article 2. The National Agri-Fishery Mechanization Program. Section 5, the National Agri-Fishery Mechanization Program, and Section 6, Program Implementation. In Section 5, the National Agri-Fishery Mechanization Program, there will be formulated a National Agri-Fishery Mechanization Program by the Department of Agriculture or DA with the following objectives: promote and support through the provision of research grants, credit, transparent, and predictable regulation to the local development and manufacture of agricultural and fisheries machinery by the private sector. Unify, lead, and support the efforts, effort, unify, lead, and support the efforts of various institutions in the research, design, and development of agricultural and fisheries machinery. This establish quality, safety, and performance standards for agricultural and fisheries machinery, and to support the establishment of quality, safety, performance testing centers for the certification of agricultural and fisheries machinery in strategic localities in the country. To establish guidelines for the registration of ownership of agricultural and fisheries machinery, and to promote the adoption of certified agricultural and fisheries machinery for improving agricultural and fishery productivity. Section 6, which is the program implementation. The overall implementation of the National Agri-Fishery Mechanization Program shall be coordinated by the DA through the Undersecretary duly designated by the Secretary, who shall conduct the formulation and review of the 5-year National Agri-Fishery Mechanization Program for the DA. To provide leadership in the formulation of the guidelines for the registration of ownership of agricultural and fisheries machinery. It is to ensure the formulation of quality, safety, and performance standards for agricultural and fisheries machinery, and it is to ensure formulation of accreditation guidelines for testing centers for agricultural and fisheries machinery. Formulate and enforce guidelines for the credit program to include but not limited to access, disbursement, and repayment. To oversee the implementation of the agri-fishery mechanization program by the various units of the department, and coordinate with the other government agencies and local government unit or LGUs in the implementation of measures provide for in this act. Article 3. Research, Extension, and Human Resource Development. Section 7. Unified National Research and Development R&D and Extension Agenda. The National Agricultural and Fisheries Mechanization (RDE) agenda shall include but not limited to the following: the development, pilot testing, and commercialization of appropriate location-specific and cost-effective agricultural and fisheries machinery and equipment in support to contiguous farming and machinery pooling, design and testing of new machineries and equipment for agricultural and fisheries, local manufacture and assembly of agricultural engines and equipment, development and utilization of renewable and unconventional energy resources such as wind, biomass, hydro, solar, and biofuels for agricultural and fisheries equipment and machineries, development of efficient production and post-production mechanization systems, continuous development of technical standards and testing procedures for quality agricultural machinery and components, training of farmers, fisherfolk, manufacturers, extension workers, agricultural engineers, technicians, and operators engaged in the agricultural and fisheries mechanization, and to promote of technologies through agricultural and industrial extension activities and techno demo centers, and to develop the prototype and fabrication of agricultural machinery and equipment, and develop and conduct of commercialization strategies involving all sectors representing the demand and supply of the sides of agricultural and fisheries mechanization technologies. Under the Section 8, Agri-Fisheries Mechanization RDE Network, uh, an agricultural and fisheries mechanization RDE network is hereby organized and produced and composed of research and educational institutions, LGUs, non-government organizations, and they organize and will establish associations of agricultural and machinery and, and will establish associations of agricultural and fisheries machinery assemblers, manufacturers and distributors, agricultural engineers, farmers, and also fisher folks. Moreover, the Agricultural Mechanization Development Program of the University of the Philippines Los Baños or UPLB, which is part of the network, shall be strengthened and institutionalized to lead and coordinate the agricultural and fishery mechanization RDE program of all academic institutions in the country. In Section 9, agro-fisheries machinery and equipment service centers, they and the LGUs shall encourage and support the private sector and other rural entrepreneurs to establish and operate agricultural and fishery machinery and equipment service centers in the strategic agricultural and fishery development zones and agrarian reform communities. In Section 10, Agri-Fisheries Mechanization and Engineering Resource Network is the existing agricultural machinery, information, and database of the PILMIC shall be strengthened into an agri-fishery and mechanization and engineering resource network. It will also be used or tapped as a facility for the online registration of agri-fisheries, machinery and equipment, and monitoring of agri-fisheries mechanization infrastructure projects. In Section 11, it is the research grants to enhance research and technological development on agricultural and fisheries mechanization in the government through the Bureau of Agricultural Research of the DUST and the Commission on Higher Education to provide competitive research grants. And Section 12, Training and Scholarship Program, the DE in partnership with CUCs and private sector shall train the agricultural extension workers and agricultural engineers of the LGUs who in turn shall train the farmers and fisherfolk on agricultural and fisheries mechanization technologies and practices. Furthermore, scholarships for graduate and undergraduate degrees on agricultural engineering and trade vocational courses on agricultural and fisheries mechanization shall be given priority by the DE, the TRED, and the DUST. Section 13. Manpower Complement. All agricultural and fisheries machinery pools and service centers, including sales and distribution outlets and manufacturing establishments, either public or private, shall have the required manpower complement of licensed agricultural engineers and certified technicians and operators. Section 14, which is the skills certification of agricultural machinery technicians and operators. That is in collaboration with the DE, and the National Association of Agricultural Engineers and Agricultural Machinery Assemblers, Manufacturers, and Distributors. Distributors shall undertake skills certification and accreditation systems for agricultural and fishery machinery operators and technicians. Article 4. The local assembly, manufacture, supply, and after-sales service. In Section 15, local assembling and manufacturing. Production of locally made engines and other machinery for agricultural and fisheries purposes shall be promoted and encouraged by the DA in partnership with the private sector and through joint venture agreements. For this purpose, the DA, in partnership with the recognized National Organization of Agricultural Machinery and the DUST, shall undertake the feasibility study and R&D for the local assembly and manufacture of agricultural engines. And Section 16, incentives for local manufacturers and assemblers of agri-fisheries machinery ventures in local manufacture, fabrication, and assembly of agri-fisheries machinery and equipment shall be eligible for loans under the Agricultural Competitiveness and Enhancement Fund under the program of the DA. Section 17 After Sales Service. All agricultural and fisheries machinery assemblers, manufacturers, importers, suppliers, distributors, and dealers are required to provide after sales service and warranty to the respective clients, which shall be monitored by the agricultural offices. Article 5 Testing and Evaluation, Registration, and Standardization and Accreditation. In Section 18, Testing and Evaluation, agricultural and fisheries machinery and equipment to be sold in the market shall pass through testing and evaluation by the Agricultural Machinery Testing and Evaluation Center in accordance with the national policies and guidelines to be promulgated by the Secretary. Specifically, before it can be assembled, manufactured, and commercially sold in the market, the model of the machine and any modification thereof should be tested by the Agricultural Machinery Testing and Evaluation Center. Section 19. Registration of ownership of agricultural and fishery machinery and equipment. All owners of agricultural and fishery machinery and equipment must register this with the agricultural offices of municipal and city government units. In the Section 20, registration of manufacturers, fabricators, assemblers, and importers, within 6 months upon the enactment of this Act, all manufacturers, fabricators, assemblers, and importers must register with the BAFE. Section 21. Standards Development and Enforcement. The DA, through the Bureau of Agricultural and Fisheries Product Standards, in coordination with the DTI, the DST, and the AMTEC, and in consultation with the accredited associations of farmers and fisherfolk, agricultural machinery assemblers, and agricultural engineers shall develop standards, specification, and test procedures. Thereafter, the DA and the LGUs, in collaboration with the BOAE, shall enforce the above standards and the manufacture, sale, and distribution of agricultural and fisheries machinery and equipment. In Section 22, Classification and Accreditation of Assemblers, Manufacturers, Importers, Suppliers, Distributors, and Dealers, Agricultural and Fisheries Machinery Assemblers and Suppliers, distributors, and the dealers shall be classified into small, medium, and large, and shall be encouraged to have their manufacturing service facility built up, provided that agricultural and fisheries machinery, assemblers, manufacturers, importers, suppliers, distributors, and dealers shall be classified and accredited based on their organizational strength and track record area of the operation, marketing, and distribution of network after sales service and manufacturing capabilities. For this purpose, the DA shall encourage and assist in the organization of private-led classification and accreditation system for agricultural machinery assemblers, manufacturers, importers, suppliers, distributors, and dealers. Article 6. Institutions. In Section 23, Agricultural and Fisheries Mechanization Committee, the Agricultural and Fisheries Mechanization Committee (AFMEC) under the National Agricultural and Fishery Council (NAFC) shall act as an advisory body to ensure the success of the programs and activities of the DA concerning agricultural and fisheries mechanization. In Section 24, strengthening the DA agricultural and fishery engineering groups, pursuant to Section 46 of Republic Act No. 8435, otherwise known as the Agricultural and Fisheries Modernization Act of 1997, a Bureau of Agricultural and Fisheries Mechanization, Fisheries Engineering, is hereby created as a regular bureau of the DA, which shall be under the supervision of the DA under Secretary. In Section 25, Philippine Center for Post-Harvest Development and Mechanization, the PhilMec shall coordinate, plan, and execute agricultural and fishery mechanization and post-harvest RDE programs and projects of the DA. Section 26, Bureau of Agricultural and Fisheries Product Standards. In addition to its functions, under Section 62 and 63 of the Public Act No. 8435 shall develop standards for agricultural and fishery machinery, tools, and equipment, in coordination with accredited testing centers and other concerned governments and private entities. In Section 27, Agricultural Machinery Testing and Evaluation Centers of the College of Engineering and Agro-Industrial Technology of the UPLB is hereby institutionalized. The ANTIC is hereby designated as the premier and reference testing center in the country, and for the purposes of functional coordination and integration shall closely coordinate its activities with the BAFS and BAFI. As the premier testing center, it shall assist the BFS in the promulgation of quality, safety, and performance standards of agricultural and fisheries machinery. Article 7, which is responsibilities of the local government units, in Section 28, implementation by the LGUs. The LGUs pursuant to the provisions of Republic Act No. 7160, otherwise known as Local Government Code of 1991, shall undertake applied research, extension, dispersal, management, and regulation of agricultural and fisheries machinery and equipment, including the collection of fees. In Section 29, strengthening the agricultural engineering groups of the LGU. The Agricultural Engineering Division or section of the agriculture offices of the LGUs, organized under Executive Order No. 86, Series of 1999 and Section 46 of the Public Act 8435, shall serve as the planning, coordinating, regulating, and implementing bodies at the provincial, city, and municipal levels on agricultural and fisheries engineering, mechanization, and infrastructure programs and projects. Article 8, Prohibited Acts, Penalties and Sanctions. In Section 30, Prohibited Acts, it is unlawful for any person to sell, mortgage or lease agricultural and fishery machinery without being registered with the BAFA. It is unlawful for any person to sell new agricultural and fishery machinery without warranty or after self-service. It is unlawful for any person to claim ownership to an agricultural and fishery machinery that has not been properly registered in his or her name and operate a testing center without proper accreditation. There are penalties which is stated in Section 31. Any person who shall violate any provision of this act shall upon conviction be subject to a fine for not less than 1,000 pesos but not more than 10,000 pesos, or imprisonment of not less than 2 months but not more than 1 year or both, upon the discretion of the court, and or other applicable penalties imposed under Republic Act No. 7394, otherwise known as the Consumer Act of the Philippines. There are sanctions in this, which is stated in Section 32. This provision shall take effect 4 years upon the enactment of this act, while all regulatory provisions have already been in place, and Secretary or his duly authorized representative has the power to file before the proper court or regulatory agency the forfeiture proceedings for agricultural and fishery machinery that is not duly certified, without serial number, and without warranty, and is substandard. The closure proceedings against business entities not duly registered as manufacturers, assemblers, dealers, or importers of agricultural and fishery machinery, or sells new agricultural and fishery machinery not duly certified, without a serial number, or without warranty, without after-sales service, and substandard, and closure proceedings against testing centers that has not been duly accredited. Article 9, Miscellaneous Provisions. In Section 33, Agricultural and Fisheries Mechanization Programs at the local levels. The LGUs, through an ordinance, shall also formulate in consultation with the DE and implement the respective provincial, city, and municipal agricultural and fishery mechanization plans as a vital component of their respective local development plans. In Section 34, Contiguous Farming, the DA together with the Department of Agrarian Reform or DAR shall carry out contiguous farming projects in order to effect suitable fuel ships and sizes conducive to efficient operation of agricultural machinery and equipment, and likewise to ensure economies of scale. Section 35, Use of renewable energy. The use of renewable and unconventional energy such as wind, solar, hydro, biomass, and other form-based energy sources shall be promoted as power sources for the operation and maintenance of agricultural and fisheries machinery. In Section 36, Infrastructure Support, the government shall provide priority investment for the infrastructure needs in clustered farmland identified as key agricultural and fishery production areas to accelerate agricultural and fisheries mechanization in the countryside, and this includes irrigation, farm to market, roads, post-harvest, power and communications facilities. In Section 37, Implementing Rules and Regulation, the DA within the 6 months upon the enactment of these acts and in consultation with the stakeholders and other government agencies shall promulgate the necessary rules and regulations to implement this act. In Section 38, Funding, the Secretary of Agriculture shall include in the DA's program the implementation of this act, the funding of which shall be included in the Annual General Appropriations Act. The DA shall likewise set aside funds from the Agricultural Competitiveness Enhancement Fund for grants to upgrade the AMTEC and to establish one testing center in Visayas and one testing center in Mindanao. In Section 39, Congressional Oversight Committee, the Congressional Oversight Committee on Agricultural and Fisheries Mechanization shall be the Congressional Oversight Committee for the purpose of this act. Section 40, Separability Clause, the provision of this act are hereby declared separable, and if any clause, sentence, provision, or section hereof should be declared invalid, such as invalidity shall not affect the other provision of this act, which can be given force and effect without the provision which have been declared invalid. In Section 41, Repealing Clause, all laws, decrees, executive, and other administrative issuances and parts thereof which are inconsistent with the provisions of this act are hereby repealed or modified accordingly. In Section 42, Effectivity Clause, this act shall take effect after 15 days from its publication in the Official Gazette or 2 newspapers of general circulations. Thank you for listening and watching me presenting the Republic Act Number 10601, an act of promoting agricultural and fisheries mechanization development in the country. Thank you and God bless.